What's going on, guys? Justin Fuller, and I'm outside of a 2021 Honda Pilot, and this is the EXL model. So if you're looking at 2020 and thinking you might want to go over to the 21, you might be asking yourself, what am I to gain or lose? And that would be, the EXL model is going to be $600 more. If you're looking at the other trims, it's going to be $200 to $400 more. You do have a 9-speed transmission that now lives in all of the trim levels. And then of course, you can always look at the SE model, which is right above this trim level. So we'll go over this, and if you're interested in that SE model, I'll throw something maybe right up here to where you can jump over my review on that one. So let's hop in and do this. All right, so starting off at the front of this 2021 Honda Pilot, I just want to talk you through a couple things. So I'll point out that you do have LED daytime running lights, and then you've got your standard halogen beam headlights, and then down low here, you've got an LED fog light. So coming across the grille, I'll just point out that you've got a nice chrome finish that you'll see right here. Now you got your Honda emblem there, and I'll remind you when we get in the car that behind this Honda emblem is where you're gonna find the radar that is used for Honda sensing. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. While we're mentioning Honda sensing though, if we come up the car, you'll notice that there's a trapezoid cut out there right in the glass, and that's where the camera is they use for lane keep assist, the forward collision warning system, and a few other things. So I'll go over that when we hop in the car too. So moving around to the side of this vehicle, I'll point out your wheels right here. On this vehicle, you have got an 18-inch wheel. As we move up, you'll notice that we've got my rear view mirrors, and they are breakaway mirrors, and they do have the turn signal indicators in them. So if somebody bumps one, I'm good to go. I don't have to worry about losing that mirror. Up top, you will see that you have a moonroof in this vehicle. That starts on this trim level. So if you're looking at the EXL model, things you might want to keep in mind is that you're going to be looking at leather. You're going to be looking at a powered seat, not only on the passenger, but also on the driver's side. So I've got a 4-way powered seat here, and then I've got an 8-way across the way. So leather, moonroof, auto dimming mirror. You're going to have HomeLink, which will allow you to connect up your garage clicker and gate clicker. And then of course, you're going to have this powered tailgate that we're about to go over here in just a second. So as we move back around to the back side of the car, I will point out that you do have privacy tint on the back half of the car. The front 2 windows, if you want those tinted, you'd have to ask your dealership depending on your state and what they allow. So your backup camera is going to be noted right here. So I just want to point that out. And of course, we are here at Howdy Honda. They were nice enough to let me borrow this car to show it off for us today here. So you can see that I got my windshield wiper on the back. I've got a nice brake light, and then I've got my fin up there as far as my antenna. So let's go ahead and pop this thing open. The first way I'm going to do this is just by touching underneath the button, since I have the key on me, and it'll pop open. You don't necessarily have to do that though. On my fob, I do have the ability to open that right there. While I have the fob out, I will point out that you can remote start the car. To do so, press the lock button and then press and hold the remote start button for a couple seconds, and that'll fire it up. That'll run it for 10 minutes. If you want to run it for another 10, so 20 total, same sequence again. Now you've added 10 minutes to it. If you want to turn the car off, press the unlock button and the remote start button, and that'll turn it off. So just some keys on here. On the back of your key, I will point out too that it'll say driver 1 or driver 2. Just be aware of that. You can tie that into your door lock settings and a few other settings as far as your memory seating and different things like that. So just want to point out that you have that and be aware of it. So as we look in the back of this car, first thing I want to point out is if you need to send that back down, you've got your pull right here, or I got a pull handle if for some reason the power wasn't working. Now on the back, I will point out, you do have your carpeted floor mats here. Every Honda comes with those. So you've got those sitting right there. Now I have some storage down here that I'll show you. So storage wise, I can hide storage away here, or I can drop this down in. So to drop it down in, just slide it in, and I can put it in there. And now I've got space for, let's say, carry-ons if I wanted to stack up, or groceries if I don't want them to fly and roll around, right? Now, if it's something that's gonna be wet, no worries, guys. On the other half of this, I can flip it over and use that plastic side, and that way I don't have to worry about getting anything wet. So if I'm throwing a cooler back there that's maybe dripping some water, I can go that route. Now, I have one of the back seats folded down and one of them up. A 6-footer can fit back there. I can sit back there, but I would say if I was taking a super long road trip, not the most comfortable, but be aware that these slide back a little bit. You can pull them and bring them back a little bit or up. And then additionally with that, the second row is sliding, and I'll show you that when we get up there. So I'm gonna lay this 3rd row flat just so you can see that you can get this down nice and flat. And I'll throw that 2nd row flat there too, so that if you needed to camp in here, you absolutely could, but you would need to be aware that there is a gap right there that you can see that you would need to cover or fill with pillows or something of that nature if you were gonna sleep in this car. So just be kind of aware, you know, kind of depending on what you're planning to use this vehicle for. If this is just a person carrier, no big deal, don't worry about that. Now back here, I will point out that you do have a power outlet right there. And then I've got cup holders for my 3rd row guys. And I've of course got air vents back here too. And then when we move up to the 2nd row, I'll point out the, not only air vents, but you also have got your sunshades back there. Now back here, I don't know if you saw it, but there's a little clip here, right? And you can pop this open. So I'll see if I can do it here with this piece of this key. But what's behind here, I don't know if I can do this. What's behind here is actually giving you the ability to get to your gas cap. So if I open my key up and use the key that's actually in there, I can put it in. Let me see if I can pop that up. There we go. Right, so the first thing you're gonna see is a funnel right here. If you were to run out of gas, you're gonna need this funnel, and I'll explain why in just a second. But back here, there's a nice trigger that you can grab. And if I grab that trigger and pull, what I've just done is I've actually opened my gas cap. So where that funnel comes into play is that if I ran out of gas, and you'll notice some water here because I ran it through the wash, I would need something to hold this open to be able to pour gas down into it, right? If I put up, you know, like a milk jug, or if I had a gas can, but it didn't have the tube on it. So that's where that funnel comes into play if I needed to fill up the car with gas because I had run out. So just be aware of that, right? That's what that funnel's for, that's where it's at. And if this ever won't pop open based off of the front of the car, know that you have a secondary way in there. And all you gotta use is this piece of your key, which I just slid the key out, right? So you've got a trigger here that you can pull it out, and then I was able to pop that open. So that's what's going on from that standpoint. So let's move around to that second row of the car, and we'll go over a couple more features here. So as I move into the second row, I'll talk about some MPGs. So you get 20 in the city, 27 on the highway. So just want you to be aware of that. It's a 3.5 liter V6, and I'll pop the hood here momentarily. If I want to throw my seats open, press the button, and it'll actually slide them for me. So it's a one touch, right? And then I've got a one touch back here for my third row passengers. Now, if I want to lay the seats flat, because I'm using it for cargo space, that's where this handle comes into play. You pull the handle, it throws them down. So now I can get that full range of space, and this is that gap that I was mentioning earlier, right? So, moving into the second row, over here on the window, I will point out you do have sunshades. So I can throw my sunshades up if I need, and protect it. If I got any little ones in the back or anybody in a car seat, I want to make sure that they're taken care of. All right, so back here, you can see that I've got 2 additional ports right here as far as USB and charging. I've got AC controls, so I can control the back and the front 2 sides separate each other. So this is tri-zone, right? So left, right, and back can all be controlled separately, and I can control the back from the front, and I can lock it. So if you got little ones back here hitting buttons, you can control that. So I've got air vents right here. So let's move up to the front of the vehicle, and we'll look at a couple features. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop the hood, but while we're up here, I'll just show you a couple things. If I want to do a pop open the trunk or tailgate, I could do that from right here. My gas cap releases right there, and then of course my hood releases right here. So pop this, and let's go ahead and take a look at the front. All right, so we're up front here of the Pilot, and this is 2021 model, so I want to talk about the engine and transmission. So you've got a 3.5 liter V6 engine in this vehicle. This has lived across multiple models for Honda for quite a while. So it's in the Odyssey, it's in the Ridgeline, it's been in the Pilot for quite a while, so you can trust this engine, it's tried and true. Now, under the hood though, you've got a transmission that's the 9-speed transmission. So they've moved away from having a 6 and having a couple others to now just a 9-speed across all your trim levels. So you can be trusted that you've got a good, nice, solid transmission with this vehicle too. So let's take a look under the hood and kind of see where things are. So I want to start you over here off on this side, and this is where you're going to find your fuse box. So if you ever need to get to that, it is right here. You've got your windshield wiper fluid additionally right here. Your Earth Dreams technology engine is right under this cover here, so you can see it's labeled nicely for me. And then you can see that I have a dipstick right here, and then I have oil right here, which it takes OW20 in case you were curious. I've got an airbags right here. This is my number one complaint about this car, is that to get to the battery, I have to remove this piece, which isn't hard to do, but you can see my battery is kind of tucked away back here. So just be aware of that if you're looking at this vehicle, that, hey, occasionally you're gonna have to do stuff if you need to get to the battery to replace it. So that is kind of what's under the hood. So now let's hop into the interior of the car and let's go over some of those features. All right, so we're in the interior of this vehicle, and I'm gonna start you off on the far left side of the dash here, and we'll kind of walk you through some different features here. So as we move down here, I'll point out the first one is your road departure mitigation, which you can tell if it's on because this LED will be turned on. If it's not, then it'll let you know it's off. And what that is if you start to drive off the shoulder of the road, it'll give you an audible alert, and then it'll actually shake the wheel to say, hey, wake up, pay attention, you're driving off the shoulder of the road. Now above that is my vehicle stability assist, that's my collision mitigation braking system. So this is gonna be always on unless I press and hold, and then it will actually turn off and it'll give you a warning. So you can see down here in the corner, it's actually gonna still give me a warning letting me know that it's off. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn that back on for us. And it's back on, right? So what this is in the event that you go and it's looking like you're gonna hit another car from behind, first it'll give you an audible alert, and then it'll actually start to apply the brakes to help prevent the accident. So this is where this comes into play. First it alerts you, and then it applies the brakes to help prevent that, to keep you safe. So this next one is vehicle stability assist. So this works with your traction control. So in the event that you go into a skid, what it's gonna do is help transfer power to whichever wheel is getting better traction to help correct for that skid. So that's how this function works. Now above this is gonna be your mirror controls, and you have a left and a right and a pad. What I will point out about this is, if you have it in the center and you throw it in reverse, nothing's gonna happen. But if you have it to the left or the right, what's gonna happen if you throw it in reverse? So let me throw it in reverse and I'll show you. It's gonna tilt that mirror down for me to help me as far as backing up. And the same thing, if I switch this over, it'll switch over and do that mirror for me too. So just be aware that you have that there and available to you. And if you don't want it to flip a mirror, put it right in the center and it'll just keep them both up for you. Now next set is your Econ button. This improves gas mileage of the car. So in using it, you're gonna give up a little bit of the acceleration off the pedal and a little bit of the power out of the AC unit as far as fan speed, but you will improve gas mileage. So this allows you to push beyond that 20 in the city and 27 on the highway that this vehicle offers. Now moving up onto the car, you will see on the steering wheel that you've got your Bluetooth controls right here. So to answer a call, hang up, and use voice command. The voice command will not only be used for your Honda's Bluetooth, but you can also use it for Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. So if I was an Apple user, I could press and hold. I'd hear the beep for Siri and then ask Siri to do things. Siri, pull up directions to this. Siri, text this person, call this person, that sort of thing. So this is a dual purpose button right here. Now this home button right here is actually gonna pull up your menu screen up here. So when I hit that, it's gonna pull up this menu screen, and this is where I can access a lot of different things. So I'm gonna scroll down here and just show you. I've got a tripometer if I want, trip info. I can scroll down to my phone if I want to go to Bluetooth, so recent, favorite calls, and then going one more down beyond that, now playing. So right now I have music playing through the Bluetooth, so this way you can see it. So it's kind of nice that you can see what's going on right there. Now, as I continue to toggle down, I go to my maintenance, and this is where I can see tire pressure per tire, or I can see my oil life. So I can see that there too. And then my settings allows me to arrange icons and turn my, my tachometer on and off. So icon wise, if you want certain things to show or not show and where you want to move them, you can absolutely set that up and customize it a little bit more for yourself. So that is how that works. And all I'm using is the pad right here and then the home button here. So my volume controls are right here, and then my back button, of course, as it's clearly indicated. As we move over to the right side of the steering wheel, I have some additional Honda safety features. So I'm gonna point these out right here, and what we've got here is if you turn the main button on, you're gonna see ACC and LKS appear, and they're gonna appear right up there. And that stands for Adaptive Cruise Control and Lane Keep Assist. So the first one is Lane Keep Assist. That uses this button right here, and when I hit that button, it's gonna use that camera up here to detect the lines down on the road. And when we go on the test drive, I'll kind of show you how this works. So you're gonna see it appear right here, and it's gonna kind of give me some visuals. So right now you can see that I have the lines there, but they're not filled in solid. So it's not actively reading the road yet, it's just letting me know that the feature is on. Once those fill in solid, it's now actively reading. So if I drift to my left or my right, it'll keep me centered in that lane, unless I put my blinker on and I mean to drift out of that lane, right? So that's how Lane Keep Assist works. So all you gotta do is turn the main button on, and if you leave this on, the next time you get in the car, it'll remain on, and then you can just press this button to turn it on. Now the next one is my cruise control. So I have adaptive cruise control and standard cruise control. So I'll start you with standard. If I just press and hold this button, you're gonna hear a beep and it'll say cruise mode selected. So, and you'll see it'll appear right up here to you. And that's just your classic cruise control. So now when I get up to speed, all I wanna do is hit set, and then I've got my cancel, resume, and if I wanna raise the speed, I've got the plus or minus, right? Now that's standard cruise control. Now if I wanna use the cruise control that uses, what I was pointing out, the radar and the grill and the camera up here, then that's where, adaptive cruise control works. So I'm gonna flip it back over by pressing and holding, and now it's in the ACC mode. So what I would do is get up to speed, press set. From there, I can hold my speed, and then I can select the distance keeps between me and the car in front of me using this button right here. So as I press this, you're gonna see boxes appear. So the more boxes, the more space that I'm keeping between me and that car in front of me. And I'll show you how this works when we go on the test drive so you can get a little bit better understanding of how this works. So on the back side of the steering wheel, I do have paddle shifter, so I can up, shift, and down speed this 9-speed transmission on my own. So if I want a little bit more control over the car, I have that capability. Now back behind there, you can see that I've got my lighting controls. So I can set my, my lights to auto, and then my fog light controls are right here. So that is one side as far as the toggle. And then on the other side, I have my windshield wiper control. So if I pull down, that does the front. If I want to control the back, I just use the tab right here. And they are intermittent, so I can control speeds and variables from right here. Now, moving over onto the touchscreen. So I'll walk you through this and kind of show you quite a few different features here. So the first thing I want to show you is the home screen. If you want to customize the home screen, all you got to do is press and hold, and it'll pull up this screen, and from here you can start hiding stuff, you can move stuff around. So quickly, just to show you how easy it is, I grab something, I move it over, so if I've got stuff that's over here that I want to drag over here, or I want to get rid of certain stuff, I absolutely can. So it gives you a lot of availability, and if you need tips with this, you've got your help right here. So I'm going to save that right there. So let's talk through some of these different features you see on this home screen. So I've already connected up to Bluetooth, so this is kind of what it looks like. If I needed to get into recent calls, my favorite contacts, the keypad, or my contacts, I can access that info right here. But let's say I want to add my first one. So it'll prompt you to add your first phone, but I need to add a second or a third third or a fourth, or all the way up to, I believe, 6 in this car. How would I do that? So I'm gonna go to connections, and then from here I'm gonna select Bluetooth. Under Bluetooth, I could hit connect new device, and now it's gonna say turn on your Bluetooth, and we'll search for each other and we'll find it and connect you up. So that's how you would go about doing that. So you can see that my Google Pixel is currently connected, and that's one of 6 devices. And then you have these accesses. So I can give it access to just audio, just phone. So several different things that you can do here. So I'm gonna jump out of that screen and go back. All right, so FM I won't touch on for too long, but I'll just show that you do have HD stations that you can access. So just be aware of that. When you're on here and you're on one, you can hit the HD channels and then you can select between the two. So that's how you would toggle between those. And if not, just do your normal stuff, you know, search, tune, do it however you want. It's a classic radio, right? It's just a touch screen. So moving off of that, your Bluetooth audio, I've already connected up so I can listen to music here. So you can see I've got some music by Kygo going right there. And then, you know, if I wanted to connect up to Bluetooth though, same thing. Go to my settings, go to my connections, go to Bluetooth, and same thing. I connect it up the exact same way as if I would my phone. So Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are right here. If you want to connect to those, I'll see if I can get a video put together here to show you on how to do that. It's very simple. For my phone, all I have to do is connect to the USB right here, download the Android Auto app, which I'll show you what that app looks like. So let me get that pulled up here for you real quick. So the app on your screen is going to look just like that. So you just go to the Play Store and download that. Oops, let me move that back up. And then when I select it, you know, it'll open up, and that's what kind of the, you know, this is if I was using it from my phone. Now, obviously you can access all that info on your touchscreen. So I'll see if I can get something worked out to where you can see that additionally too. As we move forward, Apple CarPlay, same idea, except you don't have to download the app. All you gotta do is plug your phone in and it'll pull it up for you. So they make it a little bit easier for you guys if you're an Apple-based user. So just be aware of that. My trip computer, so if I want to see trip info, I can get that same info right here that I could get over on the screen that we saw behind the steering wheel. SMS text function, so this is kind of cool. It'll show, you know, previous and current texts that I've received, so that way if I need to respond, it'll give me some automated options I can pick, or if I'm at a standstill, I can kind of use voice control and allow it to do some additional features. Sirius XM radio, you get 90 days of Sirius XM, and then after that, if you want to continue, you just need to give those guys a call, or realistically, they're going to call you and try to work out a deal with you as far as getting you connected up and getting you set up with a plan. USBs, as far as playing music, all I got to do is connect up something to the device. So if I had like a USB drive or something of that nature, I could plug it in with a bunch of music on it and be able to access it and then listen to that music off that drive. While we're talking about USBs, I will point out that you saw the one that I'm using right here, and then there is an additional USB that is down in here. So I've got a power outlet in here, and then I do have a USB and auxiliary input. So that's like your 9mm jack. So hopefully you can see that. I know it's back in there in the dark cave that is the center console. So as we move across a little bit further, auxiliary import we just talked about. Social playlist is actually really cool. To access this, you're gonna need to download one function, and I don't have any music saved to my phone currently. I've just got some alerts. So it'll play those alerts for me if I wanna hear them.
To ignore the caller fails.
So I have Jarvis to let me know when yeah, so that's Jarvis. So that's how it works, right? So I've only have 2 things that I added. And same thing, I'll show you on here on a phone what it looks like to use them. So Cabin Talk looks like that. You can download it from the Play Store, or you can go to, you know, if you need to go to the Apple Store. And when you select it, it'll pull up, and this is where I can add things to the playlist. So I'm gonna set my phone down here just so we can kind of show you how this works. So social playlist, I would go right there, add a song, and then I would go to, you know, continue anyways here, because I'm not worried about my optimization, and select my song wherever it is. So search through here, find your song. And when you select one, from there you're gonna hit add up here. And then once you've added it, you can see that it's now added to this playlist that multiple people can add to. So that's how this works. So not only can you add songs to a playlist, but from this same cabin control, I can control the AC in the back of the car as a passenger. So if I wanted to turn up that AC, I absolutely could, and I can affect also, you know, how hot or cold it is. So just be aware that you have these controls if you download this app, and it's 100% free. So not only can you control a social playlist that you can all access, but you also have the ability to enjoy being able to control the AC. You know, in case you're in that 3rd row and you can't reach the AC in the 2nd row, this helps you out a little bit. All right, so let's move back up to the screen here. Scroll back across to where we were at. So AM, I'm not gonna touch on because we just went over FM. System updates is exactly what it sounds like. Hard drive, so if you wanted to take a USB drive and plug it in, you could pull music off of that and store it to the car. I wanna see you have a couple gigs, if I'm correct, so don't quote me on that, 100% sure. I'll check and see if I can find some info, and I'll throw it up here on the screen. My clock, exactly what it sounds like. If I need to adjust it, my settings are right there. And if I wanna change this background, I absolutely can. So just be aware that you can do that. So moving across a little bit further, Honda Link. So when you connect up your phone, I want to remind you, the last question it's going to tell you is hey, would you like to enable Honda Link? And it's gonna say something to the extent of, in the event that there's an accident, the airbags deploy, Honda will try to call you and then they'll call 911 for you if you don't answer. It's 100% free. Use this feature. Take care of yourself and your families. Chances are if you're buying a Pilot, you've probably got a good chunk of people that are gonna be riding in this thing with you. So additionally, Honda Link offers the ability to start your car from the phone or control the door locks. And depending on the trim level of the vehicle is gonna depend on what options you have available. I will tell you though, these are subscription-based. They do give you a trial and most of them live in the higher model. So you're probably gonna see these land mainly in the Touring, on the Elites. But Honda Link, the safety feature is available in all trim levels, 100% free, so just be aware of that. All right, so if I'm looking at my settings in my vehicle, I'm gonna click into the settings right here, and then I wanna scroll down and go to vehicle right here, because in vehicle, there are a lot of really cool settings for the car. So the first thing I wanna do is go to keyless access setup, and this is where I have my door unlock mode, so if I wanted to, the door and the tailgate to open, or all doors, I can change some of those settings, so I want you to be aware of these. And then of course, if I scroll down here, I've got walkaway auto lock feature. Now what this feature is if I enable it, because its default is to be disabled, when I leave the car, if I have the key with me, the minute I get 10 feet from the car, it'll automatically lock the doors for me. So that's under keyless access. So let's back out one more here, and I'm gonna scroll around and go to door setup. So from door setup, this is where I can control my door locks. So they will lock the doors when you hit 10 miles an hour in the car. It'll lock every door in the car. So I can change that to shift to park, or I can turn it off. So that's as far as how the doors will lock when you get going. Now, if I move out of that and go to auto door unlock, so this is saying, hey, when I open the driver's side door, it's then gonna lock the remaining doors of the car. I like to change this feature because some of the people that I ride in the car with that drive typically take a little bit longer to get their items together before they open their door. So all of our doors remain locked until then. So I like to change this to where when the ignition turns off, that way, the minute they turn the car off, all the doors unlock and we can get out. So depending on if you have kids and different features, maybe you want some of these to be on or off. You still have the child locks in the back, so I want you to be aware of that. But I just wanted to show you that you've got a couple features here. So just to revisit where those features are, if I back all the way out here, I go to settings. From here, I want to go to vehicle. Once I'm under vehicle, I have two different access points here. My door setup, so that's your door lock settings right there. And then if I scroll up a little bit, I've got my keyless access setup, and this is where I can control that walkway auto lock setup to where if I get 10 feet from the car, it'll automatically lock the doors for me. There's plenty of other features you can play with in here, and if you have questions or concerns, let me know. I'd be more than happy to go over any of these settings with you and kind of explain how they work. So that's the touchscreen. Moving down your AC controls, I mentioned earlier it's tri-zone, so I can control left, right, and back separate of each other. As far as changing mine, separate of that, or I can sync them and control all together. And then I can jump into the rear, affect the fan speed, turn up the temperature, and I can also lock the rear. So if I got little ones back there messing with buttons, I can affect that. If you want to go auto, you can absolutely go auto and let it adjust for you. So that'd be how to do it. Your heated seats right here. So this is the first time you'll see heated seats land in a Pilot as far as trim level goes. And above, they'll continue to have them, but the EX and LX do not offer this. So you've got heated seats on both sides with 3 different settings. And then you've got a rubber mat finish right here that I like to be able to throw my phone up on, cup holders, and then my shifter is just classic buttons. I got a lot of questions about this. Nothing to be alarmed about or concerned. It's just a different style technology that opens up this area so I don't have to have a shifter in my way or bumping my knee or anything like that. So when I throw it in reverse, it'll automatically light it up for me, and it'll throw up my backup camera here for me. And I can see that, I've got 3 different views on this backup camera. So standard backup camera, I've got a little bit different view here, and then one aimed straight down. So you can see wide angle, normal, straight down. Dotted line is where my hatch opens up to if you're backing up to your garage and it's raining. Solid line is for parallel parking. And both of those lines are on every single view. Now over here, you'll notice this button, that's cross traffic monitoring. So if a car was coming from my left or right, so let's say I'm backing out at the grocery store and I'm in between 2 trucks and I can't see, it will alert me and give me an audible alert and show arrows on the screen to let me know which way a vehicle is coming from. So that's only when it's turned off. I can turn it on and off, so if you don't want it on for some reason, you don't have to have it on. So that's the backup camera. If I shift into neutral, right, shift into drive, it lights it up and lets me know. If I want to throw on to snow, so I've got 2 different settings in this vehicle. Until you move up higher trim levels, and then I believe you get 4. So for this vehicle, I've got normal and snow. And what it does is it affects the shifting points of the car to help create or maintain traction for the vehicle. And then this is my idle stop start feature, so I can disable it. I will let you know though, if this is something you turn off, every time you get in the car and crank it up, you will have to turn this off. So you can't just turn it off until you turn it back on. So it is one of those buttons you'd have to continuously hit if you don't want want this feature on. So that's kind of a bummer. This car does come with HomeLink, so that's one of the additional features you get. So I can connect up my garage clicker, gate clicker, all those right there. So be aware that that is part of getting an EXL, along with getting a moonroof right here that I can open. And my controls for that are right here. And then I have my door lights if I want my map lights, right? So if I want them to be on, if I want them to come on when the car doors open, or if I want them to stay off until I turn them on. So you have 3 different settings there, right? I've got a sunglass holder, and it also has a mirror so I can keep an eye on the ones in the back and you can see me. And then normal new car stuff. Like, this doesn't need a lot of explanation, right? So black interior, black on the tops, black to prevent glare across your dash, charcoal on the floorboards to prevent dirt from showing. So up next, we're gonna take a test drive, and I'm gonna walk you through what you gain by jumping above this model and what you lose by dropping down to the EX. So if you're on this model and you're going, hey, it's a 2021, I'm thinking about getting it, but there's that new SE model, and I'm trying to decide, should I spend the extra $600 and get X, Y, and Z? I'll tell you exactly what X, Y, and Z is. Or, hey, I'm really thinking about dropping down a model to save money. What am I gonna lose? We'll go over that next on the test drive, along with some comparisons, road noise, and what the safety features work like. So let's do it. All right, guys, so here we are inside of this 2021 Honda Pilot EXL model. We're about to take a test drive. So first thing we're gonna do when we pull out is I'm gonna gas it real good and hard, and that way we can get a real understanding for how quick can I get from 0 to 60. And I'm right on the access road to get onto a highway, so this is a perfect example of where to do it. So let's gun it and see how she does. So immediately she takes off, I'm up to 30. I'm translating through, I'm on this 9-speed transmission, and I'm at 60 that quick. So 3.5 liter V6 in this vehicle, very tested, very solid engine, and the transmission shifts quickly to get me up to the speeds that I need. So for this vehicle, I really like the pickup and go on the vehicle as far as that goes. Now, moving to the next couple things that I'm gonna check out is gonna be using my lane keep assist function and using my adaptive cruise control. So I already had the main button on when I got in the car, so it's actively already reading the lane keep assist for me here, and when I come around this corner, I'll let it re-pick up, and that way we get going. Because a reminder, if you're using lane keep assist, and that's the feature I mentioned where if you drift left or right, it'll center you and keep you in that lane. You have to be going over 45 miles an hour. Now, the other caveat to this tool is that if you turn the windshield wiper blades on, it's gonna disengage this feature. And the idea behind that is that they want you to really focus on the road. So we're gonna get up to speed here in a second, and we'll hop into traffic, and we're gonna check out the adaptive cruise control, and we're gonna check out my lane keep assist. So since I'm here and I got traffic in front of me, first thing I'm gonna do is set my adaptive cruise control. I have it set to 47. I have it set with a lot of space right here, so I can affect that space using the button that we talked about earlier. So it immediately releases and lets me off this car. So if I cut this space down, and I'm gonna speed up here, we'll see if I can get up on this car in front of me a little bit closer, just to show you that the radar and the camera in this vehicle are working together to make sure I'm keeping adequate space, being safe. But this way, when I'm on a long drive, I don't have to worry about canceling and resuming and messing with my my cruise control. I can set it, leave it to the speed, that way I don't speed while I'm in the vehicle, and it'll slow down and speed up for me and keep that bumper space in between us. So it's actively doing that for me. I just had a truck pull in front of me. It slowed me down to 53 to create a little bit of space between us. So it works great. Once we shift up here on the highway, I'll check out the lane keep assist feature and make sure that I'm in a solid lane here, so I'm not merging between lanes, and we'll kind of check that out too, because right now it's actively reading. So if I drift a little bit to the left, it centers me, and it also let me know there's a lane departure warning. So right now the car is actually keeping me centered in my lane. So I'm gonna take the speed up because I need to get up to 70 on this highway, but I'll let it continue to keep me centered in this lane. So as it actively reads it, it'll fill in the lane solid. If it loses track, they will disengage. So steering required, it just alerted me. So I have currently the audible alert for that turned off, so I don't have to hear beeps as I'm driving, but you can have that set up too. And then if I started to drive off the shoulder of the road, I do have my road departure mitigation on, so it'll give me a vibrate and it'll actually beep at me. So you've got a lot of different safety features in this vehicle to make sure that you and your loved ones that are probably right in the back are safe. So I love that about this car. So let's talk about the EXL and what I lose if I drop down to the EX model. So I'm gonna throw a list up on the screen here somewhere, maybe over my face, because you don't care, you just wanna know what the items are. If you leave this and drop down one model, you're giving up the leather interior in the car. So the shifter, you're giving up the steering wheel and all the seats. You're also giving away those heated seats. Now, from the mirror point of view, you're giving away that auto-dimming mirror that also has HomeLink, to where you can set your garage and gate clickers. So you're gonna give up that feature too. Now, from the back of the car, you're giving up that power tailgate, which I do typically find for a lot of customers is an important feature. So be aware if you drop down one model, you do give that feature up. So that's some of the items. If I missed anything, I'll include it in the list here, but I want to make sure that you have a basic understanding for, hey, what am I giving up if I drop down a model? Now let's talk about the new SE model. That is the model that lives right above the EXL model. To me, it is well worth it to spend the extra $600. That's right, for only $600, I can climb a model. And what I'm getting out of that is gonna be roof rails on the car, which if you bought them from Honda would already be more than $600 to have installed and to buy the part. You're getting 20-inch wheels on the outside, give or take. You can leave those, depends on what style of car you want and how concerned you are about ride quality, right? Maybe you want more space because you occasionally clip curbs, I don't know. You're also giving away the power tailgate, right? So if I want to be able to kick my foot under it and have it open, that SE model has that too. So $600 is getting you all these hours. And you're also getting the phone charger. So to me, I would rather spend an extra $600 because I might be able to negotiate that $600 down to a price that I would have paid for an EXL, right? So just something to be aware of if you're looking at the EXL and thinking what's above it and how much am I spending and what's below it. Now, SE model, what that should tell you though, be aware of this, is it means that in 2022, I would highly suspect that we are gonna see a body style change. Every time Honda adds an SE model in, the next year they do a body style change. So be aware of that if you're looking at this and just understand, I don't want you to buy this car, mid-year near the end of the year and then go, man, if I had known they were gonna do this big body style change, I might have waited. Now, if you do wait, you're gonna probably pay a lot more money for the car, but I just want you to be aware that that is Honda's trend. Now, as far as the vehicle goes, if I was looking at 2021 versus 2020, and let's say we're just looking at EXLs, be aware that a 9-speed transmission, it is liked a little bit better, does get a little bit better ratings, does land in all the trim levels of the 2021. Additionally, the 2021 is $600 more expensive than the 2020 from MSRP to MSRP, right? If you're negotiating, chances are you're gonna get a better deal on the 2020 because they just wanna move them off the lot. But they just wanna move pilots in general, depending on how many they have, right, on their lot to begin with. So those are some key features I would keep in mind. Now, if you're looking at comparisons of what this might compare to, you're probably gonna look at a Toyota Highlander because typically the Japanese brands compete and they compete well against each other. So Highlander, I will tell you, the infotainment system kind of gets clunky reviews. The ride quality is a little bit different. I find that the steering is always a little bit tighter on Hondas than Toyotas, and this is coming from someone who's owned both. So I'm not literally biased, although I did work for Honda, so I know a little bit more about them. But I will tell you, I've owned both. I find both to be quality-made vehicles. However, they have different ride qualities. Additionally, I would tell you that you are gonna get a little bit more cargo space if you're looking at like a Toyota Highlander, but you're gonna give up some of that passenger space. So you're not gonna necessarily have that, that extra room for your passengers. So you have to decide, what am I buying this car for? What are my needs and what are my comparisons? Maybe you like the outside look of one of them better. Maybe that makes it for you, but if you're looking at this too thinking, I don't know a lot about either one of these cars, Justin, and I'm comparing these two, I would probably say the biggest competitor to the Honda Pilot is gonna be the Toyota Highlander, right? So just putting that out there for you so you have an idea. Now, as far as what I like and don't like about this car, very few things I don't like about this car, other than the gas mileage, 20 and 27. I could probably drop down to like a CRV and be happier, but if I needed that third row, maybe I want the Pilot. I could look at a Passport, which is gonna be like this vehicle. You're giving up that third row, so you have more cargo space, and it does have a beefier undercarriage, so as far as the hardware that they're using, because it is designed to be a little bit more adventurous of a vehicle. So the suspension is gonna ride a little bit different too. So I could look at that also, but that's the exact same 3.5 liter V6. So if you're looking for better gas mileage and you don't need the third row, I would encourage you to drop down to like a CRV, or maybe you're looking at a RAV4, right? But if you need this size, you want that third row, or you want that space, then I would say arguably you're probably gonna look at a Honda or a Highlander. Both are good vehicles. I find that there's just, if you're gonna squeak it out and give it a winner, the Honda's probably gonna win, but it's not by much. So don't think that it's a landslide or that I'm making some big shifting point. No, I'm just telling you that between the two, I think you're gonna find that this one just may have a couple extra features that you like better, like the cabin controls and different features. And if you're looking at the SE for 600 extra bucks, comparing that to maybe whatever the Highlander kind of cross model is, you might go, dang, well, they don't offer something like this year. So you're kind of comparing apples to oranges at that point. Now, with all that said,
Hopefully this helped you out. I have a couple favors to ask. One, I hope that you'll subscribe to the channel. Let me tell you about that. You can always hit the bell and get alerts when I send out new videos so that I can help educate you on the cars. And to be honest, if you have a question or you want me to shoot a video, please let me know. Comment, leave a comment on YouTube down there in the comment section. I would be more than happy to shoot a video to help explain something to you or to go over something with you. Just feel free to comment. Please do like the video. Please do subscribe to the channel. Other than that, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you had a good time, and I'll talk to you soon, guys. Later.